Hey, welcome back to the show. I would now like to welcome back to the show a good friend of Animals Today, Bob Ferber. Bob is L.A. Deputy City Attorney and a 32-year veteran prosecutor and the first full-time prosecutor in the nation that exclusively prosecutes animal abuse and neglect cases. And Bob successfully lobbied for that position and finally persuaded the city of L.A. to lead the nation in animal cruelty prosecutions. Bob, I know you were tuning in to the discussion we just had with Susan Wagner with equine advocates. Please tell us your thoughts about horse welfare in our country currently and about the change in the laws concerning horse slaughter in the United States.
Okay. Thank you for having me, Lori. And I want to tell your listeners, first of all, I couldn't agree more with everything that Susan said. Just everything she said is accurate, in my opinion. I'm on the West Coast; she's on the East Coast. Maybe that says something to the listeners that this is something the whole nation needs to be involved in. And I really hope that by the end of this radio show, people will be incensed and driven to let their legislators and Obama know that we won't tolerate this. A little bit more background is that, if you go on the internet and you'll hear about this horse slaughter, unfortunately or very interestingly, there are people in the animal community saying, oh, this sounds like a good idea, because we have horses in this country that are going through this horrible transport to Mexico and Canada to be slaughtered for horse meat in other parts of the world. This is horrible. It would be better for us to kill them quickly here. And that's one of the arguments that has been used to sort of get the animal people on board. I think, first of all, people should understand, whether you're an animal lover or not, this isn't an animal-loving driven piece of legislation or law that Obama put in. This is driven by the agriculture industry, which is a euphemism for the factory farm industry. Any of your listeners, I'm sure just about everybody in this country at one point or another has seen videos and photographs of how factory farming treats horses. How they treat pigs, chickens, cows. That is a national disgrace by itself. You don't have to be a vegan or vegetarian to be outraged by the way animals are treated before slaughter for food. This bill or this regulation that Obama put into effect last year essentially is driven by that same industry to eventually bring to this country and expand it around the world, where horses will ultimately be treated just the way cows, pigs, and chickens are being treated and suffering. But on a wider scale or a bigger picture view, Lori, I'm a prosecutor of animal abuse and neglect, but I know that is not the solution to caring for animals. The solution is teaching the right message. It's educating people, inspiring our youth. They're the movers and shakers of the world. Even on Susan's website, she accurately talks about it. It's the young people that are going to be moving the world who are going to be the future horse owners. How can we as a society believe that killing is a solution, that the solution to too many horses, whether we call it unwanted or, as Susan prefers, inconvenient, what Obama is doing, and by the way, I happen to be a Democrat. I was a huge supporter of Obama, and it shocks me that he has supported this. How can we propose that the solution to stopping animals from suffering in Canada or going to Canada is to kill them more quickly? Killing has become a solution. Interestingly, actually in California, Governor Brown is trying to repeal what's known as the Hayden Law. That's a law that ensures that dogs and cats in shelters are held long enough that they can find homes. He's trying to repeal that to save money. It's almost the exact same thing as what they're arguing in Washington to us about horses is, we're gonna save money and we're gonna save the animals, but what we're really doing is we're going to the money. We're following that phrase, follow the money. This is about money. This is about giving money to the factory farming community to be able to expand in trillions of dollars by selling horses and deceiving the public that this is some humane bill. Lori, I'm in a parking lot right now talking with you in Los Angeles. I'm on my way to a school in South Central Los Angeles, where in a half hour I'm going to be teaching inner city kids with 2 pit bulls about reverence for life, compassion for all living creatures. How do I go there in a half hour and tell them that our society uses killing as a humane solution to too many animals?
Right.
This is insane. The real solutions, and I think Susan had touched upon it, is that it's not that, well, let's just keep the animals from going to Canada through this horrible transport. Let's not delay it. Let's just kill them quickly. That's not a solution. The solution is legislation to ban slaughter in the United States, to ban the transport outside the United States for slaughter. And the real solution is if you have too many animals and not enough homes, then you need to regulate the flow of animals. You can't just put, the old thing of put your finger in the dike and prevent the flood. You have to go to the source of the problem. I'm a co-founder of a horse organization called Thoroughbred Education Foundation, which people can go on the internet, thoroughbreded.org. Our organization's goals are almost identical to equine advocates. And what we both organizations are advocating is that we need to regulate the breeding of horses. Virtually every state or city in the country has some sort of spay and neuter law for dogs and cats. If they don't, they're doing it. People need to know that in the horse world, they're breeding like rabbits, and it's for money, and they'll breed and breed and breed until they get a horse that maybe will win a race or maybe will win a horse show, and all those dozens of other horses that came from that one mare, they're going to be slaughtered. And so we're teaching kids that we're a culture of irresponsibility or actually disposability. The phrase I like to use is, do we want to teach responsibility or disposability? And we're teaching that killing, disposability, is a solution to a problem. I'm appalled by it, and it's sending all of our culture backwards, and it's teaching other countries, and not just our youth, but it sends a signal to others that American culture believes that killing is a solution, and particularly in our environment today with the political atmosphere, trying to make claims to other countries that we're a humane society while we're engaged in wars around the world, whether you support them or not. It's more important than ever that we send a signal that we are a peaceful culture, and I believe we are. I believe that we teach that, but this is an inconsistent signal by using killing as a solution.
And Bob, you make such an outstanding point. You relate it, like it to the dogs and cats, that we're just working on the wrong end here. I mean, we're killing 5-6 million dogs and cats in our local shelters and in our country's shelters, rather than really putting a stop on the breeding. And similar to the horses, rather than just killing the excess horses, let's put a stop to the breeding of them.
That's right. And you know what? If you carried it one step further, the solution to dog and cat overpopulation is let's start eating them, because that's the thing. It's almost exactly what they're saying. There's too many horses, let's kill them and eat them. There's too many dogs and cats, why not start killing and eating them? I can tell you that when I go to the school in about 20 minutes, they're not going to see any distinction, because you know what? There is none. So for us as adults to artificially see somehow that this is different, it isn't. We're teaching the same message, and it translates in the streets. It translates to teaching children that violence is a solution, that instead of working on a real solution, that this is the solution to killing it. And one other thing that I want to put out there for the listeners is that, rescuing horses, Susan said it very well. The commitment for a horse is a 30-year plus commitment. The expenses are hundreds of times more than a dog and cat. We can't rescue all the dogs and cats in the world. For those who say, well, let's just have more rescue sanctuaries for horses, that is even more far-fetched. Rescuing horses is not a real solution. And, in fact, you just look at all the sanctuaries around the country, well-meaning people who are trying to, save some of these. They're going broke. They're even being accused of neglect because they don't have the money. The reality is that rescuing, in some ways, is kind of may sound ironic to your listeners. Rescuing enables irresponsible breeding.
Thank you, Bob Ferber. Don't go away. Peter in the News, up next on Animals Today.